she passes by.
1971 was a legendary year for music. The charts were exploding with tracks that defined a generation. But somewhere between the iconic anthems everyone still knows,
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
there were massive hits that have somehow slipped through the cracks of collective memory. These weren't obscure B-sides or forgotten failures. These were genuine chart toppers, songs that dominated radio and had everyone singing along. Then time moved on, and they vanished from playlists, oldies stations, and cultural conversations entirely. These are 15 hit songs from 1971 that you probably don't remember, but once you hear them again, you'll wonder how you ever forgot. 15. One Bad Apple, the Osmonds. Before Donnie went solo and became a teen idol in his own right, the Osmonds were a family act chasing the Jackson 5 sound with everything they had. One Bad Apple was their breakthrough, a funky pop track that borrowed heavily from the Motown playbook. The production was slick, the harmonies were tight, and the groove was undeniable. The song spent 5 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1971. It was everywhere that winter, impossible to escape if you turned on a radio. Critics noticed the Jackson 5 similarities, but audiences didn't care. They just wanted to dance. Today, the Osmonds are remembered mostly as a nostalgic curiosity. One Bad Apple deserves better than that. 14. Knock 3 Times. Tony Orlando and Dawn. Tony Orlando and Dawn scored one of the catchiest hits of 1971 with Knock 3 Times, a playful love song about a guy pining for the girl in the apartment below him. The premise was simple and the hook was impossibly sticky.
Oh, my darling, knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. The song topped the charts for 3 weeks and became one of the best-selling singles of the entire year. It was pop perfection designed for maximum radio saturation. But Tony Orlando faded from the spotlight and took this earworm with him. A shame, because it still holds up beautifully. 13. Me and Bobby McGee. Janis Joplin. Janis Joplin recorded Me and Bobby McGee just days before her death in October 1970. When it was released posthumously in early 1971, the song carried a weight that went beyond its lyrics. It became a eulogy, a final statement from one of rock's most powerful voices. The single hit #1.
Windshield wipers slapping time, I was holding Bobby's hand in mine.
Giving Joplin her only chart-topping hit. Chris Christopherson wrote it, but Janis owned it completely. Her ragged, soulful delivery transformed a country song into something transcendent and heartbreaking. Most people remember Joplin, but forget this was actually her biggest commercial success. The song deserves to be remembered alongside her legend. 12. Joy to the World. 3 Dog Night. 3 Dog Night had a gift for turning other people's songs into massive hits. Joy to the World was written by Hoyt Axton as a children's song, complete with nonsense lyrics about a bullfrog named Jeremiah.
Jeremiah was the bullfrog.
The band transformed it into a barroom sing-along anthem that felt like pure celebration. The song spent 6 weeks at #1 and became the best-selling single of 1971. Everyone knew the words. Everyone sang along at parties. Jeremiah was a bullfrog and became one of the most recognizable opening lines in pop history. Somehow 3 Dog Night slipped out of regular rotation, but in 1971, they were absolutely everywhere. 11. Indian Reservation. Paul Revere and the Raiders. Paul Revere and the Raiders had been kicking around since the early 1960s, known mostly for their Revolutionary War costumes and garage rock energy. By 1971, they seemed like relics of a previous era. Then Indian Reservation gave them the biggest hit of their entire career.
Took the whole Indian nation.
The song addressed the mistreatment of Native Americans with surprising directness for a pop single. The production was dramatic, building to a chorus that demanded attention. It topped the Billboard charts and gave the band an unexpected late career triumph. Indian Reservation proved that even aging acts could find new relevance. But history moved on and left this one behind. 10. Go Away Little Girl. Donnie Osmond. Go Away Little Girl had already been a #1 hit twice before Donnie Osmond recorded it in 1971. Steve Lawrence took it to the top in 1963, and the song seemed permanently associated with early 60s pop innocence. Nobody expected a teenage Osmond to make it feel fresh again. But Donnie's version connected with a new generation of young fans who didn't remember the original. His boyish charm and earnest delivery pushed the song back to #1, making it the first track to top the charts in 3 different versions. Donnie became a superstar. This specific hit became a trivia answer most people have forgotten entirely. 9. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? Bee Gees. Before disco transformed them into falsetto-driven superstars, the Bee Gees were a soft rock band crafting delicate ballads about heartbreak and longing. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart showcased their earlier sound.
I can think of younger days.
Built on gentle harmonies and aching vulnerability rather than dance floor energy. The song spent 4 weeks at #1 in the summer of 1971. It was the Bee Gees' first American chart topper and proved they could compete with the biggest acts in the world. When disco exploded later in the decade, this tender ballad got buried under the sequins and strobe lights. The Bee Gees had a range most people have completely forgotten. 8. Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves. Cher had spent years struggling to establish herself as a solo artist separate from Sonny. Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves finally gave her the breakthrough she needed. A dramatic story song about a woman born into a traveling family and the hardships that followed her through life. The production was lush and cinematic.
I was born in the wagon of a traveling show. My mama used to dance for the money they'd throw.
Perfectly suited to Cher's deep, distinctive voice. The song shot to #1 and announced that Cher was a star in her own right, not just half of a duo. Today, Cher is remembered for many things. This specific #1 hit rarely makes the list, which is a shame. 7. Maggie May, Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart released Maggie May as a B-side in 1971. Nobody at the label thought it was a hit. The A-side was supposed to be the single that mattered. DJs disagreed. They flipped the record and started playing Maggie May instead. The song about an older woman who seduces and then abandons a younger man climbed to #1 on both sides of the Atlantic. It made Rod Stewart a solo superstar and defined the raspy storytelling style that would carry his career for decades. Maggie May is technically well known, but most people forget it was 1971's defining breakout moment for Stewart. 6. It's Too Late. Carole King. Carole King had spent years writing hits for other artists, crafting some of the biggest songs of the 1960s from behind the scenes. In 1971, she stepped into the spotlight herself with Tapestry.
And it's too late, baby, now it's too late.
One of the best-selling albums of all time. It's Too Late was its centerpiece. The song spent 5 weeks at #1, a mature meditation on a relationship that has simply run its course. No drama, no villains, just the quiet recognition that love doesn't always last. Tapestry remains legendary, but It's Too Late specifically has faded from regular rotation, overshadowed by the album's overall reputation. 5. Want Ads, The Honeycomb. The Honeycomb was a female trio who scored their biggest hit with Want Ads. A funky, playful song about searching for love through newspaper classifieds. The production was pure early 70s soul, driven by a groove that demanded movement and a hook that stuck in your head for days. Want Ads topped the Billboard Hot 100 for 1 week in the summer of 1971. It was fresh, fun, and completely of its moment. The Honeycomb seemed poised for a long career of similar hits. The song had everything a group needed to build lasting momentum in an era hungry for female-led soul music. That career never materialized. The group faded quickly, and Want Ads became a forgotten gem from an era overflowing with better-remembered competition. Sometimes one perfect moment is all you get. 4. Theme from Shaft. Isaac Hayes. Isaac Hayes created something revolutionary with the theme from Shaft. The song was funky, cinematic, and impossibly cool, built on a wah-wah guitar riff that became synonymous with 1970s black cinema. It won an Academy Award for Best Original Song and topped the pop charts, proving that film music could dominate radio alongside traditional singles. The blaxploitation era produced countless imitators, but nothing matched the original's swagger and sophistication. Hayes proved that soundtrack music could be just as vital as anything designed for radio play. His deep voice and orchestral arrangements created a blueprint that influenced film scoring for decades. Everyone knows the riff. Fewer people remember it was a genuine #1 pop hit in 1971, not just a movie theme that played over opening credits. 3. Just My Imagination. The Temptations. The Temptations had dominated the 1960s with hit after hit, but by 1971, their commercial peak seemed to be fading. Just My Imagination proved otherwise. A dreamy ballad about a man fantasizing about a woman who doesn't know he exists. The song captured the ache of unrequited love with devastating precision. Eddie Kendricks' falsetto floated over lush strings and gentle percussion, creating something tender and heartbreaking. The song spent 2 weeks at #1 and reminded everyone why the Temptations were legends. It showed the group could evolve beyond their Motown roots while keeping their emotional core intact. It was Kendrick's last single with the group before going solo. A perfect farewell that deserves more regular airplay than it currently receives. Some exits are better than any entrance. 2. Brand New Key. Melanie. Melanie wrote Brand New Key in about 15 minutes. A bouncy novelty song about roller skates and innocent flirtation. The lyrics carried obvious double meanings that radio stations either missed or chose to ignore. It didn't matter. The song was irresistibly catchy. Brand New Key spent 3 weeks at #1 at the end of 1971, becoming one of the year's most unexpected smashes. Melanie's quirky voice and playful delivery made it feel like a breath of fresh air amid the heavier rock dominating the charts. The song became a punchline over the years. It deserves reconsideration as a genuine pop gem. 1. Ain't No Sunshine. Bill Withers. Bill Withers was a former aircraft factory worker who recorded Ain't No Sunshine as part of his debut album in 1971. The song was sparse and devastating.
Alone, but ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Built on a repeating phrase that conveyed loneliness better than any elaborate poetry could. Withers didn't have a traditional music industry background. He brought a working-class authenticity that made every word feel lived in and true. The song reached #3 and launched one of the most respected careers in soul music. Ain't No Sunshine is technically well-known, but most people forget it came from 1971 and announced a genuine original voice. And that's our list of hit songs from 1971 that time somehow forgot. The year was packed with music that shaped a generation. But these tracks slipped through the cracks. Which one surprised you most? Drop it in the comments. Smash subscribe, and I'll see you next time.